Yo, what's up? So I have been covering a lot of NFT stuff in the past month or so on this channel, like NFT, crypto, blockchain stuff in general, and I've been mostly critical of it. However, I have seen this other thing come up now. It's called Mist, which is I guess it's like a game that uses the Mist token or something like that. I haven't really looked into it that much, but there's a game trailer of it, and I thought we'd go over that. And if it's interesting, then I'll do like a deeper dive into the like actual website that they have and stuff. I just wanted to go over the trailer real quick and see um, like how people reacted to my content of it. But basically, um, I'm probably going to be fairly critical of anything like this, although I'm also going to have some favorable things to say about it. So I'll probably get hated on by both sides, people who hate NFTs and people who love NFTs, and all you crypto bros out there. I know you love to like just look at a title, dislike my videos, and then comment something that has nothing to do with the video since you clearly didn't watch it. But yeah, so at the risk of angering both sides, I'm going to react to this content here and we'll see how it goes. Um, but yeah, like I said, I don't know if this is necessarily good, bad, or either way. I haven't really done a deep dive into it, but yeah, let's look at the trailer and we'll decide after that. It's made in Unity, it's fine. Okay, so right away I can see that they haven't spent a lot of time on graphics. Now, I don't think that's that big of a problem, right? Like stylized things like this is fine, especially in Unity. This is pretty common in Unity for like games to kind of look like this. But just keep in mind that this isn't going to be like a high-end game. It looks like this probably looks more like it would run on like mobile or maybe like a little like flash game. But I don't necessarily think it's the worst thing. The only problem I see when companies do this is it makes me wonder if they're trying to spend as little money and as little time on it as possible and just make a quick cash grab. That's something that comes to mind, but it could also be that they're trying to limit the number of polys to run on mobile if that's what they're trying to do. I don't really know in this case. It could go either way. I don't mind the stylized stuff as long as the rest of the content looks okay, but that's my first thought from seeing this. Okay, so it's an action RPG. Okay, so it's a little bit different than some of these other things they're claiming. Like it's not gonna be like a massive multiplayer online. It's not gonna be like some MMO shit. I know that there was like an NFT fighting game that I don't know that looked kind of really sussy. I don't really know about it that much. I just read like a little bit about it. So there's that too. So maybe it's true that this is the first ever blockchain based action RPG. I don't know if that's actually true. So maybe someone can tell me in the comments if that's accurate or not. But I actually made a video talking about pay to win and things like that. And I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with throwing in NFTs and like crypto or blockchain into your game, as long as like that's the buy-in and people understand that from the beginning, right? If people start playing your game because it's like the buy-in is that like you can actually spend money to increase your power, and that's how people want to play the game. Like it's kind of like card games in a way, right? Like you play Hearthstone, you can buy all the packs, you can buy a lot of packs until you get all the cards or whatever. Or if you're playing Magic the Gathering, then you can actually just buy the card on eBay or some shit, right? Like the card you need to finish your deck. So there's, as long as that's part of the buy-in, I think it's okay. Yeah, and like I actually think card games are a perfect way to think of like NFTs in games, right? There's a limited number of a certain card in the world that will ever get printed, at least of a certain set. Like they might like reprint the set later, but there's like a limited supply of something that only a certain number of players are going to get, that's going to have some kind of power increase, right? Like I think that's a really good way of thinking about how NFTs might look in video games. Of course, a lot of people hate the idea of pay to win, but I think people hate the idea of being subverted from what they expected to be the progression value of the game, right? So if people expected to progress through the game by spending more time in the game or like thinking about the game or like strategizing with the game and not just spending more money on the game, that kind of subverts what they thought the game was about. And a lot of companies will try to obfuscate how much you can pay to increase your skill in the game. Or there's like sometimes it'll like creep in, like in World of Warcraft, like the WoW token kind of creeped in and became a like basically a pay to win feature where you could just pay for literally anything. And I'm gonna and like you could pay for anything in the game. Basically, you can get carried through like all the raid content. You can get carried through all the Mythic Plus content, and so I think it's gonna be. I think it's similar like that in some games where it kind of just creeps in, and it goes from a game that wasn't pay to win to something that is actually pay to win, and it really pisses people off. And there's been a lot of backlash with like NFTs and crypto in general recently, and I just don't see why people hate it so much. Like objectively, it is bad for the environment. So if that's your problem with crypto and NFT, then that's completely understandable. But if you have some other problem with it, like because a lot of people use it for scams, that doesn't mean that the technology itself is inherently scammy. That's just the people that are using it, right? Like you could probably say the same thing for just about any industry when it first started out, or any technology when it first started out. Like if you're not familiar with tech, there's this term called vaporware where companies will sell other companies like a product. It doesn't even have to be other companies, but they'll sell basically this idea of a product that doesn't actually exist. Like, so they'll say like, oh, we have this machine learning algorithm that will be able to tell you exactly what your customers are looking for, something like that. And then like a company buys it and it doesn't really work that well, or it basically doesn't exist at all. That's why it's called vaporware, because it's like software that doesn't really exist. It's vapor. So it's always been a thing where like new emerging technologies will be used to take advantage of other people and other companies. But I do see a space where NFTs, or not just NFTs, but blockchain technology in general, because it's not just limited to like currency and stuff like that, kind of becomes a major thing within um like gaming, or within like the world. And I'm gonna move this up so we can read maybe. Um so if you're so if you have a problem with crypto that's not something I mentioned, let me know and maybe I can consider that for future things, because the only problems I've seen that people have are that people use it for scams and that it's bad for the environment, which it is bad for the environment. So yeah, if that's true, because it uses a lot of electricity to do like the transactions and mining and stuff like that. I know some coins are working on that right now, but there isn't really a good solution. So, but if you have another problem, let me know, because I'm kind of curious. Oh, is this like I want to know, like, is it, am I gonna get banned for using this meter? Not banned, but is this gonna be like blocked out or whatever? So let's say collect functional NFTs for in-game bonuses. Yeah, like I said, it's essentially how card games work. So I don't see that big of a problem with it. Um, and again, I think that the animation and the graphics do still look a little bit bare bones, and that can be a problem. Unless they're going for that style, because like, I mean, it's not the only game that's done things like this, right? Like you have a lot of games that are made by a low, like not that many developers, or like a low number of like people, and this is what happens. Or like they only have developers and they don't have any artists. I don't know. Like you can see like Spellbreak is a good example of a game that was like pretty good, but it didn't look that great, right? So it's not necessarily a bad thing. It just is something to consider. Immersive in-game farming and staking. Okay, so I do they mean like farming for crypto or NFTs and like staking your crypto? Like that's interesting that you can do that in game. I would like to see how that works a little bit. Maybe I can look at that on their website after this video goes up if people are interested in that. But yeah, I think that is kind of interesting if like the main way people like farm and stake is in the game. That's interesting, I guess. Farm and stake on partnered platforms. So that makes me think that there's going to be other games, or like other websites, or other ways of farming or like mining for stuff like that, which is pretty standard, I think, for crypto. In-game raw materials linked to blockchain tokens. Okay, so you get in-game materials for blockchain tokens. Do you use these materials to make other things, or wait, I missed something. So do you use these tokens to make other things, or do you only use them to sell? Because if it's just like an in-game currency and there's like a bunch of in-game currencies, that I don't like when there's a lot of different in-game currencies, because the reason that companies do that is often to make it hard for you to understand how much a single thing costs in the game. So I don't know if that is the case, then I don't know I don't like that necessarily. But if you can use the materials to craft, then I think that's good. Oh yeah, so it said, I skipped it again. So what did it say? There is 5 playable character classes. Okay. Or is it going to tell me what the classes are? train and level in-game skills. Okay, so like I'm gonna guess that there's like mining and stuff like that because they already showed mining. Build unique skill trees. Okay, so like I want to see how unique they are. Is it gonna be like retail WoW or like like old school WoW, right? Is it like how are the skill trees looking? I would like to see that as well. So I mean, this does look like actual in-game footage though, so at least they have something that's playable, which is a lot more than I could say for something like Earth 2, where you can literally just buy like land tiles and shit and there's like nothing you can do with them. So at least they have something that's playable. I don't know. I'm always critical. I always want to think of things critically when it comes to highly monetized like transactions, if that makes sense. So in something like let's look at I'm trying to think of a good example, but like I guess the most recent example I can think of is something like New World, where you buy the base game but you don't really have to spend any extra money on the game. They do have cosmetic monetization, but it's not really that big of a deal, right? Like you don't have to do it. But then if you look at something like, I'm going to go back to World of Warcraft, where you have to spend money every single month and you have to pay for the box price, it makes me a little bit more critical of like how the game is and how it plays and how it looks and stuff like that. And so like something like this is going to make me very critical, where if you, I don't know if you have to pay for the game per se, but if you have to like spend money on like tokens and stuff to be like the best, because like inevitably a game that uses NFTs is going to be pay to win. And if it's heavily monetized and it's not good and it's like just thrown together really poorly, and it's going to make me think it's more of a money grab than something like New World. Like I don't think New World would ever be considered a money grab because it's like a one-time purchase and then there's like the whole game, right? Now we can say that there are problems with the game, sure, but that's not really relevant to what I'm talking about. So for example, like this, you basically, if you have to buy the NFT to like get certain things within the game, and that's how you get stronger, like items or something like that. I don't know how it works, but let's say it's an item and you buy that NFT to get like the best item in the game or something like that. But everything else in the game is kind of shitty. Like it's weird, right? It's like, okay, so this is like a really poorly designed, poorly put together game that's just there to make money. So I hope that it's not like that. It looks okay so far, but they haven't really shown any real gameplay. Like this is just a reveal trailer, I guess. They've only talked about things that you can do in the game or that they want you to be able to do in the game. They haven't really shown any of those things being done, right? Epic multiplayer gameplay. Okay, what does that mean? Like arena? Looks like arena. Is there dungeons, raids? Like what does it mean? New worlds to explore. Okay, it's pretty vague. Um, there's nothing else here. I don't want to unmute it because I don't want to get in trouble for using their music. So in-game competitions for rewards. What kind of competitions though? Like that's cool, I guess. Do we get like NFT rewards or do we get like titles? Like what kind of rewards is it? You know what I mean? Now I could definitely see this being some kind of like mobile game that you just play in your free time and it's chill. I don't see this being something that you take too seriously on a computer, though I'm sure that there's some people that will take it crazy serious, unless the gameplay loop and like the combat is just insane, right? Like I could say like if the gameplay loop and the combat were just like super fun to play, then people might take this really, really seriously. But based on what it looks pretty much like a mobile game that's using NFTs, which I don't necessarily think is a problem. Um, I would be interested in doing more research on that. So yeah, like I said, if you enjoyed the video and you want me to look more deeply into this missed game or like how these NFTs work or how their token works, or if it's going to be like another Earth 2 where it's basically just a big scam, or if it's going to be something more serious like things that I've seen on like Gala, then let me know because I am kind of, it is interesting. It is interesting to me how like this could be done, because I've said in previous videos that I think that NFT gaming could be a thing, right? It could be a thing if that's what people's buying is. But right now, I've heard Curious TV say this all the time. There's like no actual gamers who are like interested in NFT gaming. It's all like crypto bros who care about these kinds of things, right? And I think that's pretty much true. And the problem is that gamers care more about like skill than they care about like these pay to win things or like the journey to get good, right? That's why people like MMOs. That's why people like MOBAs, because it's all about skill in MOBAs, and like in MMOs, it's all about that journey to get there. if you like subvert that by making things pay to win, most people are going to check out. But there's definitely a demographic where this is like the kind of game they're looking for. I mean, we can even look at like Eastern MMOs that are heavily pay to win and people still play that kind of stuff. So I think that there's a market for this kind of stuff, and I think that it's okay like to have it as long as it's not predatory, as long as it's not like doing things where you're basically lying to people about what's in the game, or you're just trying to do a really quick cash grab and stuff like that. I think it's okay, and I think that there's a world where this exists alongside other games, and I hope that's the world we go to, rather than a world where these developers literally like sell like their NFTs. They sell out, like the NFTs sell out to crypto bros who don't really care about gaming. Gamers don't really ever take notice of this, and then the like developers just split. Like I hope that doesn't happen, and that's what I mean. Like it looks like from this really short trailer, it looks fine as long as all they're doing is basically adding NFTs to a game. Then it's essentially the same as a card game, as I said before. But I would want to look more into it and look at their website more. So yeah, let me know what you think down in the comments. And that'll also let me know if this is something you're interested in, and subscribe, because I can see which videos people subscribe on. So if you subscribe to my channel on this video, it'll let me know that you're interested in more stuff like this. But yeah, I hope that people enjoyed the video. I hope that you can understand where I'm coming from, and it's not like, oh, this guy's just like a crypto bro as well, or oh, this guy just hates NFTs, because it's not like that. I'm pretty much neutral in the concept of NFTs and blockchain in general, because it is just a technology. I'm more critical or more like sympathetic depending on how it's implemented and how it's monetized and how it's portrayed to people. That's more important to me than the technology itself. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.